Hi, welcome back to It's Miracle Beauty. Today I'm doing the April update on my pan challenges for the end of April. I have 3 pan challenges, so I have a 10 and 10. They're all rotating pan challenges. In case you've never been here, my goal is actually to use more product in mass, meaning touch more things than it is to actually use things up. Doesn't mean every single product has that goal, but my goal is to move through my actual collection and try to pan at least some of everything in it versus just using certain items to completion. I've done that in the past. It doesn't work real well for me because I either get obsessed with using and I neglect the whole rest of my collection, or I literally get so pissed off at those products that I just stop panning altogether. So far this year, I have panned and used up more items than I've ever used in any year, and I've touched more items than I've ever used. So I feel like this system really does work for me. On that note, pan however you want. If you like using completion, you don't consider this panning, that's okay. Just do what you feels right for you, and I'm going to do what I feels right for me. How I keep track is I pick how many times minimum I have to use a product that month. I only track those minimum requirements. I don't track usage once I hit. If I have 5 I need to use it, I use it 5. I can use it 31, but I only record 5 because it's just a goal tracking thing for me. So there is a rolling 10, there is a 20 and not talking today, I can see already, 23 and 23, and then a 20 item pan that was originally a full face pan. It sometimes is, it sometimes isn't. It just is what it is, but I'm still calling it full face because I can never remember to name it prior to my videos. And I'm not going to name it on the fly because it will be terrible, I promise. So that being said, there are things rolling out, things rolling in every single month. So it can be kind of excited for me to film these videos besides showing progress and the completion things I've done, but it also allows me to show that I'm the new product I'm rolling in. So this intro will be on all 3 of the pans. It does make it easier for me. And since it's all the same information, it makes it a lot easier to just have it. If you've seen this before, skip on past it and get started for the pan. Hi, welcome back. Hope you didn't mind my repeated intro. It does make life a lot easier for me, and with my schedule and my autoimmune issues, I need to make life easier whenever I can. So this is the 23 and 23 challenge. I'm going to go right into it just so that you know I'm no longer giving the what I said I was going to use it for and what I was going to use it for unless it's important to the product. If I've only used it 3 because I'm decluttering it or whatever the case may be, I'm not doing that. It takes up time and energy, and I don't really feel like it helps you guys at all. And if I'm wrong, let me know. I can bring it back next month. But first thing I have in the 2023 is the Fenty bronzer. This is an Into Sun. I've really been enjoying this. I'm slowly getting that, let me see if I can make that a little bit easier. It's slowly getting the Fenty imprint or FB imprint washed away, or wiped away, washed away. Yeah, I'm washing my bronzers now. That's what we're doing. I can't with myself today. So next is the Fenty Beauty. This is the Duo Kilowatt Highlighter in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. And it does look like this. And this one has, since day one, had some deep impressions, and they're just getting bigger and wider. So that one's definitely staying in. I've been enjoying that one a lot. What I'm taking out of the challenge, but I'm not decluttering yet, is the cream bronzer in Amber. I love this. I panned almost an entire one of this. I just repurchased it, and I went to use it, and it wasn't blending right. It felt really dry. When I just pulled it out, you could see the moisture on the surface. I actually wonder if maybe my skin was extra dry that day. So I originally had planned to declutter this, even though I just bought it like, I think in December or January. But since that I pulled it back out and it has a lot of moisture, I'm going to retry it. So this is actually going to go right back in my drawer, and we're going to keep it there so that I remember to use it. In its place, I'm actually going to put the Fenty, what is this called? Plush Pudding lip mask. I hate this product. And when I say hate, I mean I hate this product. The lip balm is not, or lip mask is not easy to use. I don't feel it gives me any dramatic moisturization. The actual thing, you twist the bottom and it comes out here. It always twists. After you stop twisting, it just keeps coming out. It just is not my favorite item ever. But that's going in its place. Next is the Fenty Balm and Fussy. This one, because it's been sitting up, you can't really see it, but it's about halfway. It's been laying down, I mean. This one I enjoy using. I actually have this exact same color in my car all the time. I leave it there, so I'm leaving that in. Next is the Pure Bronzer. As soon as I find it. Oh, it's buried. I had them all sitting up so they wouldn't be buried. I guess I missed one. So this is the Pure Bronzer. This is the Bronzing Act and Light. I actually love this bronzer. It lasts forever, obviously, because I've been using this This has been in my pan challenge the entire year, and this dip just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it just will not pan. Like, I would be okay. It's very expired. I would be okay to throw this away once I hit pan, but now it's becoming a challenge to me, and I have to hit pan. Like, it has to stay here until I hit pan. So that's definitely staying in. One I'm taking out is the Tarte eyebrow pencil. This one is not gone yet. It has got a lot gone. It only has that much left. I will still probably be using this till it's gone because I'm unofficially pan it, but I'm not going to have it in my pan challenge anymore. So that one is coming out, and in its place I am putting the Rare Beauty concealer. This is in the shade. So I'm jumping in here really quick. My video actually got corrupted. So the Rare Beauty concealer is actually going in the third challenge. Later in the video, I did catch it. However, it's distorted and there's no way to post it. But I wanted to leave this explanation here. So please just keep in mind that you're going to see this again in the next video. Sorry, guys, but didn't want to lose this explanation. Back to the video. GTIL1, or maybe it's, oh no, that's the lot number. I'm a dummy. It's 160C. I read that like it was really a color, like it was so convincing. But I'm putting this in. I actually, full transparency, bought this twice. So I bought this previously with the foundation. There's actually a review at my channel, and I did not care for it. My skin has changed so much in the last 2-3 years that I did rebuy it, and I want to retry it. I've used it here and there, and I didn't love it or hate it. I really just didn't have a strong opinion, which is fair for a lot of reasons. I don't ever use one concealer. I always have a firming concealer and a liquidy or serum concealer together. I use the firming to try to help wipe out some of my under eye wrinkles. They're never going to be gone. They're just, since I was a teenager, they're pronounced. However, I'm hoping to wipe out some. So because I don't use this on its own, it's hard to develop an actual opinion about it. So that's why I say it's really fair that I'm not sure what I think about it. So that one is rolling in. Next is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm. No, that's not next. Hold on one second though. I want to see something. Yeah. Next is the CoverGirl True Blend Concealer. I have been absolutely loving this. If you want a firming concealer that doesn't dry your under eyes, this is fantastic. This reminds me a lot of Shape Tape, but it's not drying. It's very firming, and it definitely whites out color under the eye. So I think it's a fantastic concealer. Definitely leaving that in, and I probably will keep that in my collection. A lot of times what I do is I have a couple drugstore, but I like high-end stuff. Just naturally my makeup tastes gear that way. So a lot of times I will keep a lot of high-end concealers. I have 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 low-end. That one I will repurchase. I enjoy it. I've been using it over all of my high-end. Next is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm. This one is in Pinkgasm. If you haven't been here before, I have this and the contour one in my challenge. I hate these products with a freaking passion. I will never rebuy them. They are getting closer to being finished, but I just cannot use them repeatedly all month anymore. It's just not going to happen. So this is moving out. And moving in is the Jaclyn Hill Highlighting Palette. This is a really big example of not expecting to hit pan. These shades, I've used these all a bazillion times, and they have no wear in them. And I'm sorry, no matter what I do, I feel like this is going to reflect in your eyes, and I apologize. There is tons of wear in this, and I've used it. I mean, there's not anywhere, and I've used it a ton of times. And so I don't think that it's even possible to hit pan on this if I used it every day. This is also a very wet highlighter, which I still do use, but not like most people have given it up completely. I do use it, but it's not an everyday thing for me. So this is one I just don't think we'll get enough use to actually be panned in the year, much less in the month. So that's one that my goal is just use. That's all the goal is. So next we have the not Charlotte Tilbury, the Hourglass. This is the Vivid Single Shadow. I have really been enjoying using this, and there is definitely some disruption happening on that surface. There is a little bit of a dip, but it's very minimal. A little bit goes a very long way with this product, so it will last me for a couple lifetimes. But I am trying to get my use out of it because it's an expensive product, but then also it's one that has been sitting and it's at the end, if not expired, it's at the very end of its life. I don't know if it has on here. Yeah, it has a 6-month shelf life. It's like 3 years old. So it's definitely past its time. So that one is staying in. Next is the Hourglass Brow Gel. I am pulling this out as well. This one I've been enjoying. It still works well. This one has an interesting brush. It's like elongated on one side and short on all the other sides. So it is really cool. I have noticed a little bit of flaking with this one, so it's definitely aging. This one has a 6-month shelf life as well. It's quite old. So I'm going to use this longer until I can see if we get as much use out of it as I can. As we know, Hourglass products are super expensive. I don't buy high-end brow products very often anymore. It's just not something I do. I think drugstore does a great job on the brows. So in fact, the Thick It Stick It by NYX is probably my favorite brow gel I've ever used. I have that always in my drawer at all times. In fact, I recently did, sorry, my chin is like itching and I don't want to smear my makeup, so I always tap when it itches. The CoverGirl, it's like a fiber gel one. I hate that one. Everybody was raving about it. I can't stand that one. It's a newer one, not new, but newer. And I used that today and it took a lot to get to my brows look okay. Like even now, actually I think they look okay now. When I was messing with them, they were driving me crazy. So that one is coming out, and in its place, we are getting the KVD concealer. This is another one that I've been absolutely loving. It's funny because I'm starting to see use in it. I've had this since it first came out, and it's starting to, like, I can actually see the walls, and it's cool because it's getting used, right? But this one is one I really, really love. Like, this is that one that I put in the drawer for, like, I don't want to use it every day because I don't want to use it all. It's expensive. Now I'm not doing that. I've totally changed that attitude. If I like it and it's expensive, then I can buy it more because I can afford that, and it'd be better than buying things I don't like with the money I've been spending. So this one is moving in, and I'm super excited about it. I really love that. That one actually I would say is comparable to the CoverGirl, meaning like they have very similar qualities about them. I don't feel it's drying, but I feel it's very firming and very color protecting or color blocking, and so I feel like it does a really great job. So next is the Huda Glowish. I am leaving this in, although I've been struggling with this. I found the best way I use this is in combination with a tinted sunscreen. So just for some examples, I'm thinking, my drawers are right here. That's why it's so easy. Tower 28's tinted moisturizer or tinted sunscreen. Let's say tinted sunscreen it's called. And then this is the Tula. This is called a skin tint sunscreen. So when I use these, they have very little to no coverage. They're light or barely light. This gives it so they don't get to medium, but they're more than light, if that makes sense. So that's how I've been using it. But it does limit how much I can use it when it doesn't really look good with other stuff. The other way I've used it is I put foundation. I've been using this actually with the Reboot foundation. I've been doing this a lot. I put in the center of my face where I want the most coverage, covering up any redness, covering up any issues I'm having. I put this in the perimeter, and it blends really well together because the coloring is actually very similar. And so and this can go over multiple shades because it's a tinted moisturizer, even lighter than a tinted moisturizer. So not my favorite thing, but I am finding uses for it, and I already bought it. This was bought on sale. I think it was like, I bought 6 items and it was buy one, get one free for all complexion. So basically that equates to every product was half price if you think of it like that. So I only paid half price, so I will be okay if I don't use everything in this. This has a 12-month shelf life, and it's probably 12 months or a little over now. Next is the Makeup Forever eyeliner. I use this mainly on my bottom line. Once in a while I'll use it on my top line, but mainly, like today, if you can see it, I have blue and blue eyeshadow and blue mascara. Eyeshadow? No. Eyeliner and mascara on my lower eye. I do that a lot, or I use color on the top and I use black on the bottom. I love having that contrast. It does bring out my eye color typically, but this one is in the shade Absolute Emerald. So that one is staying in. And then another one I have, and this is probably my favorite one I've ever used in my entire life. I'm so glad I put it in the challenge because I've truly been enjoying using it. This is from Urban Decay. It's called Deep End, and it is like a shimmery turquoisey teal. I love it. It's fantastic. It looks amazing with purple eyeshadows. Like, I'm not a purple girl. Well, I love the color, but for eyeshadow, I actually don't wear it that often. It's just not something I get into, but that's not true. It's not something I choose to get into. When I want to buy a certain brand and they're all purple, I still own those and I still use those, but I don't go out to the store and go, I want to buy a purple eyeshadow palette. It's not me, but that looks amazing with purple, so I've been wearing purple a lot more. Next is the First Sally Skin Tune. This has made a comeback. It's been in BoxyCharm's shop and BoxyCharm. I hadn't gotten BoxyCharm, I think, in almost 3 years. No. Yeah, almost 3 years, because I think it was summer of 2021 I canceled it. So, or fall, one of the two, so close to it if not. That would be 2 years, not 3 years. I can totally add. Did you guys catch that? What a dummy. Anyways, this is from way before that. Just saying that this is one that for Sally left Sephora. They did have a big thing about mental health and putting their family first, which I thought was really good, but they are coming back. This is really like near the bottom. Like I have to work to get stuff out of it. And I did, when I just resubscribed for BoxyCharm, pick up 2 little small ones of this. This is probably my favorite primer I've ever used in my life. It works fantastic. It definitely does blur, and I like that it blurs with moisture versus drying. When I use a silicone product that's very drying, this doesn't dry my skin out. So that's definitely staying in. I'm going to finish this. That's staying until I finish it. Or it goes bad. It hasn't gone bad, but I don't want to jinx myself. Next is the Essence 16-Hour Powder. I have a love-hate relationship with this. If you look, I actually have a pretty good dip getting started in this. This is one that adds coverage because it is technically a powder foundation. It adds coverage and it adds setting to it. You know, you can use a setting. A lot of times I actually use this for a setting powder because it's not as drying as, say, a like Too Faced or a Laura Mercier, but it's not drying, right? So I have to be careful and find a happy medium. I've had a couple times where this ended up looking cakey and I had to wash my face off and started completely over. User error plays a role in that, so I'm not blaming the powder entirely. I know plenty of people that love this powder, but for me and my use, I have a love-hate relationship with it. When it works great, it looks great, it looks beautiful. When it doesn't, it has a problem. But again, you can see that big dip forming. I'm obviously getting some use out of it, so I'm really happy about that. Not an expensive powder. I think it was like $6, $8, but if it works good, I don't care. It's one thing I do like high-end, but if it works good, I'm here to use it. Next is my NYX Marshmallow Primer. I freaking love this. This is one of my favorite primers too. This and the Versailles are probably the #1 favorites I've ever had. This one reacts very similar to the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas. I've owned both, I've used both, and I've put both on each side of my face, and no one could tell the difference. So this is definitely smoothing. This is one that I had enjoyed using, and I'm really enjoying it in my pan challenge. This is another one, despite it being a drugstore, that I was like, I love that one. I'm going to save it. No, I'm not doing that anymore. If they discontinue it, I will find another primer, and we will keep moving. Next is the Makeup Forever Reboot Foundation. In case you've never been here before, if you look, that is almost gone. It's like right here. That's all that's left. But I have it in a compact now. I've been using it as a sponge or a compact foundation for, I think, most of 2023 at this point. I am loving this foundation. I would absolutely be happy to rebuy this foundation. In fact, the day that I wore, I don't know if it's this video or the last one, I was talking about wore my makeup for 13 hours. My makeup still looked stellar. It was this foundation all by itself. It lasts, which I'm a huge Makeup Forever fan. Makeup Forever is the first high-end foundation I ever bought. It was the HD. I went through 3 or 4 bottles of it. I love HD. I like the new one too. And I like the new powder one too. I buy every Makeup Forever foundation that comes out, even if I'm on a no buy. It's a rule I have with myself, and it will always be a rule because their foundations I find great success with. So I don't expect this to last the year. I expect this to last maybe through summer, but I would be willing to rebuy it at some point. Next is the Dominique Cosmetics Cream Blush. This one is interesting. So I put this in here because it was drying out, and there's something in it. Well, let me get whatever that is out because that's kind of gross. I wonder if my brush shedded. I wonder if that's what that was. This is one that reminded me of the Natasha Denona, she has some of hers in her little duos that are like almost cream to powder. Like, I don't know if they're advertised that way, but they feel like a dry cream when you touch them, and then they turn to powder as you put them on. This one's definitely not a dry cream, but it definitely gets almost like powdery when you put it on. It's not really super creamy like, say, the Rare Beauty blushes are. This was drying out. Now that I've been using it every day, it has kept its moisture. It's been working good, and I've been enjoying it. I am a fan of Dominique Cosmetics. I think they do a really great job. In particular, their eyeshadows are fantastic, but I have her powder, I have her concealer. I mean, I think Dominique does a really great job with her stuff, so definitely willing to keep that. But next is the Jouer. This is the bronzer. It's called the Light to Medium Bronzer Duo, and the colors are Sunlight and Suntan. They are very warm toned, true to a bronzer, so not complaining, just stating it. I have fair skin, so I have to be careful with how warm I go. So this one is less warm toned than this one, so I do use this one a lot more. I typically use a contour shade anyways, and then like either the Smashbox or the Kevyn Aucoin. But then eventually I go into and I use a warm tone. So I've been using this, I've been enjoying it. It's not my favorite bronzer I've ever used, but it's also not the worst bronzer I've ever used. So next is the Good Apple foundation. This one has been in the challenge for quite a while. I actually really enjoy this. As you can see, I have hit pan and now I'm widening that pan out. I think if I had like literally from the beginning went around in a circle in the whole big thing, I would not have a pan. So that's kind of, is it a pan? I don't know. But it's still a decent chunk of foundation out of that. And I do enjoy this foundation a lot. I cannot wear this on its own. On its own, it does too dry for my foundation or for my skin type. But I love using it with my Shiseido Radiant Lifting. That one actually is a very oily or moisturized. I don't know if it's really oily. It's moisturizing primer or foundation. So this one works really good with that one and I love it. I like using that one on my entire face and then using Apple in the beginning or the middle, just a very center, and it when they blend in together it like creates this moisture lock, but then also on my nose and all this area stays all day because of the good Apple. So that's how I've been using that and I've really been enjoying it. In case you didn't see a previous video, I bought this when it first came out and I loved it when it first came out. I used it regularly. I enjoyed it. And then I took it on a trip with me to Lansing, which is like an hour from my house, hour and a half from my house. I had an overnight conference class thing there for work for my licensing. And I took it and every single morning of the 3 mornings, it looked like complete garbage and I had to wash it off. So I was like, obviously this doesn't like me anymore. I'm not going to use it anymore. So when I started panning this year, I picked it out as one I wanted to use again and see if I could get the use to work. And I have. I've really been enjoying it. It looks fantastic. It's just a really good foundation. Next is the Kosas Concealer. And this one I've been enjoying. This is starting to get marks in it where it's starting to, like, when it's full, you don't really have a mark on the side, right? But as it starts to go down, if it's laying on its side, and then you could see there's definitely lines in it. So it's starting to get some signs of use in it. I've still been enjoying that one. I like the concealer far more than foundation, which it sounds like is somewhat of a consensus. Even people like the foundation, I feel like they like the concealer even more. If you're different, comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspective on that because I feel like that's kind of been, again, the wide variety has been at least leaning towards the concealer, if not choosing the concealer as higher. So, and then I just realized I did miss one up above in my list, the Charlotte Tilbury Youth Glow. That's where I'm at, or maybe a little below that, but not by much. I've been enjoying this one. This one I thought had an expiration date, but maybe it didn't. It says it's 12 months though, so it's definitely expired. I got this in a mystery box a long time ago. So this one I'm going to keep using until either it expires or I don't enjoy it anymore. Right now I've still been enjoying it, so I'm going to keep using it. And the second to last item is, and I just realized I'm missing something here. Oh, I know what happened. The back up to the Makeup Forever. This particular eyeliner I'm going to pull out because having 2 eyeliners in it, it became like a competing eyeliner thing and I don't want to do that. So I'm pulling this out. That's why it wasn't adding up right, because I am putting in the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer in the travel size. So I'm moving this one into the challenge. Now for the second to last product is my Cover FX. This was a BoxyCharm palette that they did. I have hit pan in the highlighting shade. Now mind you, that's again very similar to the Good Apple. If I had been going across the whole thing, I never could have hit pan, but I used the same area every single time when I did my inner corner and my brow highlight, and so therefore that's how I got a pan. So it's definitely not been something, and I use this almost the entire month. I did alternate slightly with, but a lot of times I use both this and that individual shadow from my 10 and 10. So that one, there is a huge dip in this finishing powder. In case you haven't been here before, I'm only panning the 2 middle shades. I don't really care for the other shades in this. I never have, but those 2 middle shades are amazing. This powder, this finishing powder, is very similar to the Hourglass Xfinity, if you ever use that. It's got a little bit of moisture feeling to it, like it's not drying. So I wish that Cover FX would come out that in a actual, you know, compact. I would buy that all by itself and throw this away, like literally same day. So I've been enjoying that since I've owned it. It's never changed. What I rolled in last month, let's see, I took out that Fenty Amber Cream. I used it exactly the amount of times I was supposed to, and then I took it out, and this is what I rolled in its place. This is the Kaleidos Escape Pod. I feel like my thing might be off. One of the problems I have when I do this is I have my list I used last month. I need to see that to see how many times I used something, or the ones that didn't get, or the ones that got removed wouldn't be on the next month. But then when I look at the next month, then I'll realize I did something wrong or accidentally did something. Yep, that's what I did. Okay, so this primer is not in this one, and I apologize. This is in the other one. I knew there was something wrong in there because the amber was this. This is the Escape Pod from Kaleidos. I have actually really been enjoying this. So I've owned this since the actual day it came out. I ordered a, what do they call those? PR pack. And it came with like highlighters, it came with everything. So this came in it, and I did not use this the entire time. Since then, I've been using the hell out of it. In particular, these three middle shades on the left, those three are so beautiful. So I don't believe you can get this anymore. I don't know if anybody sells it on Mercari, but I never used it, never gave a shit, even though, because not that I didn't give a shit, that's the wrong way to say it. I never used it because I opened it and went, oh, it's neons, I'm not using that. Well, why did you buy it then? Well, what I've realized is, first of all, there is some neons, but if you look, the bottom row is not neons. The bottom, which this is the bottom up here, so the top row, I guess I would say the top row is not neons, and up here has the neons. This is not. I don't know if my eye just went to that, I don't know. But I've been thoroughly enjoying using that, and it's been an absolute pleasure to use. So that is my pan challenge for my 20 and 23 and 23. I have one left. I have my 20 full face one that will be on next. Again, it's the same intro, so if you want to fast forward the intro, I totally understand. And then if you like this or enjoyed this video, I hope you will like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. I do not upload at the same time on the same day every day, so it is important that you hit that bell if you want to get my videos notified to you that I uploaded them. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope your makeup's going great, and I hope I see you again soon. Have fun, guys.